KBF uchape 2026 basi wedini KBF 2026 basi wedini KBF segura maso basi wedini KBF youth segura maso basi wedini KBF magetia segura maso basi wedini KBF mama segura maso basi wedini KBF azima ya simambo segura ni maso basi wedini KBF 2026 basi wedini KBF 26 ni KBF uchabe straight from Kopala 2026 let's fix the fixer 2026 basi wedini KBF 2026 basi wedini KBF segura maso basi wedini KBF youth segura maso basi wedini KBF magetia segura maso basi wedini KBF mama segura maso basi wedini KBF azima ya simambo segura ni maso basi wedini KBF 2026 basi wedini KBF leader wanze leader wa chifundo oyo pa mulungu KBF ana mutima otandisa bantu yuzi changa mukaweo makeji ya changa mukaweo fama changa mukaweo changa muka KBF apwero siri za vuto KBF apwero pukuta misozi zanu make sure you 2026 KBF uchape 2026 basi wedini KBF 2026 basi wedini KBF segura maso basi wedini KBF youth segura maso basi wedini KBF magetia segura maso basi wedini KBF mama segura maso basi wedini KBF.
My fellow Zambians, today we discuss a very important subject, our manifesto as Zambia must prosper. I know some people have been saying, but what are the solutions that Zambia must prosper is bringing to the table politically? I want you to understand that at Zambia must prosper, we have a clear manifesto as to how we want to develop this nation. We believe in Zambia must prosper, that the first unit that we must take care of as a political party and as a government is the family. We believe in Zambia must prosper, that every family must be able to afford a decent house, a decent home for themselves. We also believe that every family must be able to afford 3 square meals a day. We believe that every family must be able to at least afford to educate its children. The family must also be able to afford for the children and itself, other than the education, a basic investment. Further, that they must have access to affordable health care, which is one of the main reasons we're discussing today. Healthcare. Healthcare begins with the mother. We know as Zambia must prosper that 70 to 80% of our women are still in the rural areas, and therefore they don't have access to basic healthcare. We in Zambia must prosper believe that we must develop programs to educate expecting mothers as to what happens during pregnancy. We must therefore begin to educate our midwives, our traditional midwives, on how to cater and care for our expecting mothers. We will need to provide psychosocial counseling for pregnant young girls and mothers. We will need to provide and run community programs about pregnancy complications. We will need for them to understand that when a woman is pregnant, her immune system drops and therefore she becomes susceptible to sexually transmitted diseases. All these complications means that the woman must understand her body. But how can something which God created for procreation be so complicated? It's nature. As Zambia must prosper, we want to encourage and teach our traditional midwives on how to train pregnant women to look after themselves, how to feed themselves, how to avoid malnutrition, how to avoid being anemic during pregnancy, what foods to eat, and how to feed. Further, they need to educate these young women on how to be able to look after themselves when they are pregnant, and also to identify problems during pregnancy. We therefore propose, as Zambia must prosper, that we are going to introduce first-level clinics, which will be mini hospitals in all the 10 districts of this country. We are proposing a very ambitious program of having at least 3 clinics built in every province annually. How are we going to do this? Solutions will be provided later. These clinics will need to be fully staffed, fully equipped. Therefore, they will need trained medical personnel to be stationed there. The clinics will need ultrasound equipment, they will need ultrascan equipment, they will need X-ray machines, they will need fully fledged laboratories with imaging departments, and also the laboratories must run blood tests and disease identification at all times. This is important because at any stage, if you don't have equipment, it is difficult for the mothers to know what they are suffering from. Further, these first-level clinics must have the capacity to host emergency patients and treat them. We will need emergency theaters. These theaters should be able to do basic surgery. They should also be able to deliver children via C-section and stabilize the patient before they can be referred if they have complications. Politically, what does this do? What it does is that it's going to move into job creation. You may ask, how does this create jobs? 1, construction works. For the clinics to be built, we'll need engineers, we'll need architects, we'll need bricklayers, we'll need plumbers, and electricians, everything that goes with construction. Those are jobs. Zambia Must Prosper is intending to create jobs. Further, we will need quality health trained personnel to man these facilities. That is another area where we're going to ensure that jobs are created. We will also need to have basic pharmacies to dispense medicines. Yes, medicines which today hospitals are not providing. During the government of the Zambia Must Prosper, medicine will be available. Patients do not need to be buying medicines. When you're sick, buying medicines is one of the last things on your mind, especially if you don't have money. Our government is proposing to provide basic medicines, and this is one thing Zambia Must Prosper will do. We also know today that there are problems, even in the big hospitals, about how theater operations are conducted. Sometimes patients are being forced to buy equipment and medicines before operations can be conducted. This is wrong. This is the job of a caring government, such as the Zambia Must Prosper government, which is the government in waiting. The big question: why is this important to Zambia Must Prosper? And why is this important to you as Zambian citizens? It is important because our party believes that Wanamayo come first. We have a slogan in our party, and the slogan is simply this: Namayo mwine wang'anda. And by that we mean the woman is the manager. The woman is responsible for the family, for the husband, for the children, for the visitors, and everything that goes on in the home. We have another slogan: Tutila tata kuleni ng'anda. As you can see from our party symbol, Kayanda. Therefore, whenever you're thinking about Zambia Must Prosper, think Pakayanda. When you go to vote, think Pakayanda. Because everything begins in the home. whether you go fishing by boat, whether you go hunting in the bush, you have to bring that food at home. Some of these other parties, when you look at their symbols, they mean nothing. Zambia Must Prosper has a clear message to give to you. That watila ZMP ni pakayanda. So what are the solutions? And how do we raise this money that we have to put across for these ambitious programs? I'll just give you 2 examples today. We've got 5, but I'll give you 2 examples today. Because I know if we give out all of them, the current government will steal our ideas and start implementing. Because to Shiva, a vision. Vision. Here's the first example. 1, we are going to introduce a policy where we say no woman should die whilst giving life. Please listen to that statement. No woman should die while giving life. This is a very clear and categorical statement. We are promising the Zambian women that we shall embark on this not only by policy but by law. We want to avoid neonatal and maternal deaths. Mothers must not die whilst giving birth. By law, which law we shall introduce? By law, every maternal death must be reported, whether in the village or in town, in the compounds or elsewhere, within 48 hours, to the Minister of Health, and through him to the President, which will be myself. Secondly, reasons must be given by the Minister of Health, through his technocrats, as to why that death occurred, directly with a report and suggesting solutions as to how we can avoid that death. We must begin to value life. Life is precious. These reasons should elaborate and propose remedial measures and solutions to be taken to avoid and prevent the reoccurrence of such deaths. Once we do this, then we know that we are valuing life. Further, the office of the President will analyze and prescribe the necessary action and solutions to be taken, which will be intersectorial. And by intersectorial, I mean we shall bring to play the major ministries that will be involved in solving that problem. How is this going to happen? It will require funding. It will require the raising of funds. And like I said, today I am providing just 2 basic solutions for you, the Zambians, to see that we, as Zambia Must Prosper, have been thinking outside the box to provide solutions for you going forward. Number 1, at the last investigation, our investigations have revealed that Zambia today has approximately 23 million mobile handsets. 23 million mobile handsets. Some people have more than one phone, although our population is lingering between 19 to 20 million, but there are 23 million cell phones. We are going to charge every cell phone operator or every cell phone user 30 kwacha to provide some developmental aid for health towards a purse which will be the Presidential Health Initiative. This will lead us to having 690 million kwacha per month. Please mark my figures. 690 million kwacha per month. If we divide by today's rate to the dollar, 24 kwacha divided into 690 million, it will give us an answer of $28,750,000 per month. If you multiply by 12 months, that will give us $345 million annually. In other words, we are able to raise, as a government, $345 million annually towards basic health need for our mothers, our children, and for the payment of staff at these first level clinics that we're going to build. There's your answer to having money not coming from the outside world, not coming from the IMF, not coming from the World Bank, money to be raised locally from ourselves, within ourselves. I'm sure for the health of your child, your sick loved one, you can at least give 30 kwacha per month. That is simple. When you multiply this and look at the facilities that we were able to build, our studies have shown that when we are constructing clinics, we are able to construct these clinics. Today's good construction workers using the Chinese model, at least within 30 to 45 days, the clinic can be standing using steel and other architectural structures, which are simple to build. We have already been talking to some of the Chinese construction companies, and they've told us with the kind of designs that they have, we can build at least 100-bed clinics within 30 to 45 days using steel structures, having laboratory set up and theater equipment installed within that period. We are in a hurry as Zambia must prosper because health comes first. That's one area where we are able to raise money. The second area, without having to borrow money from outside or indeed from the IMF or World Bank, as our friends have been doing, waiting for foreign direct investment, Zambia must prosper is saying, we've got toll gates in this country. Every toll gate charges a minimum of 20 kwacha per vehicle. Some are higher, 50 kwacha going up, depending on the size of the motor vehicle. But let's use the minimum barest motor vehicle. The minimum barest motor vehicle is charged 20 kwacha per toll gate. If we are going to assume that there will be 50 million motor vehicle transactions per month going through toll gates, the various toll gates we have around the country, we are going to charge every motor vehicle 100 kwacha. 50 million transactions on all our toll gates across the country. We only remove 100 kwacha out of every 20 kwacha. That will give us 5 billion per month in kwacha. Divide that by the rate of the dollar today, which is 24 kwacha to $1. We are going to get $208,333,000 per month. If we multiply this amount by 12 months, we are able to raise $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion without borrowing money from the IMF or the World Bank locally. We don't even have to feel the pinch that perhaps an embassy or a country as big as the United States has withdrawn $50 million from our health sector. We can do it locally using local resources. Now, when you add $345 million to $2.5 billion, we are able to raise $2.8 billion annually. Being in government for the next 5 years when we take over government, multiply that, we are able to raise $23.2 billion for the health sector to build new first level clinics, to build and build staff accommodation and ensure that these things are going to benefit our Zambian people. Let me just go back now. Why the presidential fund must be run from State House and directly under the office of the president. The Minister of Health will have to report every maternal death to the president because it will help in the intersectorial development of the country. For example, if so many deaths are coming from Zambezi or Mwinilunga, or they are coming from Nakonde, or the deaths are coming from Kaputa, as a president, we will need to know what is causing these maternal deaths. Is it the lack of the road infrastructure? Is it the lack of clinic or health facilities being available and accessible to our people? Is it the lack of trained manpower? Is it the lack of this and that and the other? Then we shall call the Ministry of Infrastructure. Then we shall call Ministry of Local Government. Then we shall call the Ministry of Health. Intersectoral Ministerial Management Committee will come up and say, we'll need a road going into this area, we'll need this kind of size of clinic, and we'll need this kind of personnel being established at that point. That is how you solve problems. Zambians, you have been saying, we as an opposition do not offer solutions. I am giving you a solution. Zambia Must Prosper has thought through how we are going to develop this country, especially the rural areas. But we just don't take roads. We just don't build clinics. We just don't build schools. We build around the problem of a woman. I'm going back to the family. Why? Because it is the woman who usually has to take the child to school when the husband has gone to work. How far are the schools? How far is the clinic from the woman? How far is the market from where the woman stays? What infrastructure does she need? What road network does she need? That is why that intersectorial ministerial administration will come in. So listen, if you look at how the UPND has run its government, you will see that they've never had a clear-cut policy on health. They've never had a clear-cut policy on infrastructure development. They've never had a clear-cut policy on how medicines are going to be imported and how much medicine is required for our hospitals. Here's a solution. We have 5 areas where we can raise money locally. I've given you 2. Think about it. And you shall see that Zambia Must Prosper is thinking about solving your problems tomorrow. So let's put our hands together. In Zambia Must Prosper, Namayo comes first. In Zambia Must Prosper, every developmental agenda will revolve around the woman. In Zambia Must Prosper, we shall respect you, the women, because we know you bear the brunt of the problems and troubles of the home. Therefore, campaign you could join Zambia Must Prosper. Natuatila Zambia Must Prosper ni pakayanda. Natuatila Zambia Must Prosper mulei kushokutila Namayo emwi ni wanganda. Natotila mkwai. Another program will be given to you. This time we'll be discussing another subject. Today I wanted us to look at how we are going to begin our developmental agenda. Natotila mkwai. Let's apply.
KBF Uchape 2026 Basi weni ni KBF 2026 Basi weni ni KBF Segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Youth segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Maketia segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Mama segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Azimaya zimambo segura ni maso Basi weni ni KBF 2026 Basi weni ni KBF
KBF azaleta chape chitukuko KBF azasiriza noti shedding KBF azaleta makwala mvipatala KBF ana mutima chape wangunda KBF 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 azaleta
segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Youth segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Maketia segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Mama segura maso Basi weni ni KBF Azimaya zimambo segura ni maso Basi weni ni KBF 2026 Basi weni ni KBF Umunyori nyori umubere bere umuntu wabantu umunyori nyori
the KFyo
umubere bere umuntu wabantu KBF 2026
makule kafie.
Rest in peace President Michael Chirufya Sacha
KBF azachipisa chape na unga. KBF azaleta mangwala mzipatala. KBF azasidiza tribalism. KBF azasidiza futi kadalism. KBF president chape wachikata.
Famaleka kulira Magatia Ukuta misosi zako Yuti iwe Changamuka KBF waleta chitukuko KBF waleta chitukuko Pasi wedini Pasi wedini dani Mayuti Azima ya zibambo Zibo sepaji atibo Mawido Okonze mapama Street vendor yeah. Rest in peace President Michael Churufya Sata